What's up, YouTube? It's Heretic here, and I'm back with another rogue deck for you guys. And today we're looking at a Sylveon-EX fairy deck. So the object here is Sylveon-EX, which I feel is a very underrated card from the Generations expansion, more specifically the Radiant Collection portion of the Generations bonus expansion, whatever you want to call it. And this is a card that some people I know that I've talked to have pulled a whole bunch of these things, opening up Generations, and have just not wanted them. But I've actually discovered this is actually a pretty solid card. So we're going to take a look at a Sylveon-Aromatisse deck that accelerates with Max Elixir and then opts to not only deal out substantial amounts of damage, but also keep damage off of their own Pokemon, and basically make it so that our opponents are not able to OHKO us, which makes the max potion element of the deck that much stronger. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the list here. Okay, so we start with our main attacker, Sylveon-EX, and we run 3 copies of her. And I know Eevees are 7 out of 8 male, but this one looks awfully feminine to me, so I'm going to call this one her. And so she's got 170 HP, which is pretty respectable. And an attack called Dress Up for 2 colorless energy that does 30 damage, plus if this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached to it, you do 30 more damage. So 30 on its own is not much, but 60 if you have a Pokemon tool, if that's a Fighting Fury Belt, we're going up to 70, is pretty solid for a double colorless. And then for 2 fairy and a colorless, you do 100 damage with Precious Ribbon. So I'm not sure about these attack names, but you know, whatever they decided they wanted to do. You do 100 damage, and you move a fairy energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon, and then if you do, you also heal 50 damage from the Pokemon that you move the energy to. So not only do we gain extra healing powers in addition to Max Potion here, but we also are able to move an energy off of Sylveon, which means that if it does get knocked out on the next turn, we would lose only 2 energy instead of 3, and if we need to move that energy back, we can simply use Aromatisse's ability to fairy transfer that fairy energy right back up to Sylveon, so it can use that second attack again next turn. So we also use Xerneas for its Geomancy attack for 1 fairy energy, allowing you to choose 2 of your bench Pokemon, and then for each of those Pokemon you can pull a fairy energy card from your deck and attach it directly to that Pokemon. Excellent energy acceleration, and it doesn't matter that they're being spread out if you need it all in one place later, because Aromatisse can just move it all around to wherever you need your energy to be. Also has the Rainbow Spear attack, dealing 100 damage for 3 energy with 1 discard. Not too shabby for a non-EX, especially when you consider if you go up against like a Giratina or something, you can just Rainbow Spear and knock out and kind of take control from there. We also do run 1 Xerneas EX, and this card, I don't believe it's all that powerful on its own, but it has a niche here, which is why we run it, and that is the first attack, Breakthrough, which they may or may not have named a set after. This is for a fairy and 2 colorless, dealing 60 damage, but the key here is that it does 30 damage to an opponent's benched Pokemon, so you can set up a knockout with either X-Blast or with something else, or you can try to go after something maybe that's already taken a pretty big hit, sitting on your opponent's bench, you know, without having to Lysander back out. Can also work around Focus Sash if you're looking at OHKO territory here, which something like X-Blast or our 1 copy of Lugia-EX could be capable of pulling off. X-Blast, for what it's worth, does 140 damage, and you can't use it again on the next turn. So it's a high damage attack, not too shabby, although we'll get a bigger attack from Lugia here, or 2 of them, in a moment. But overall, not too bad. Double colorless compatible is always nice. Then we run a 2/2 Aromatisse line. This is for fairy transfer as often as you like during your turn. You can move a fairy energy from your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. Move them around at will. It's always a pretty solid ability. I chose the Breakpoint Spritzy because just like the Flash Fire and XY Spritzys, it has 50 HP, and it's a different Spritzy. So it's new. It has new artwork. It's fresh to the eyes. So I guess that's my reasoning there. I mean, you could still attack with it if you really want. 2 Shaymin-EX for setup and Sky Return, mainly for, I shouldn't say for both, mainly for setup. Draw cards. You can Sky Return if you really need to. And then we run 1 Lugia. He's another home run hitter really big attacker. Arrow Ball dealing 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon, so you can just Fairy Transfer all your energy onto Lugia and then just hit it for a ton. Or with a Stadium card in play, you can use Deep Hurricane, which does 80, and if the Stadium is in play, it discards the Stadium and deals an additional 70. So you hit for 150, which is 10 more than X-Blast hits for with Xerneas-EX. So 2 very big attacks here. This can be a great late-game finisher, or just something you could use if there's one major threat on your opponent's board that you absolutely have to get rid of. And he's my favorite Pokemon, so, of course, you know, there's always that aspect of it. So that's our Pokemon lineup. So we play 4 Ultra Balls as we start our items here, just to search our Pokemon out. Did not have room for Level Ball for the Aromatisse line, which, since we're running only a 2-2, is a little bit of a concern, but the way our engine is built, we should be okay, even if we can't get Aromatisse out right away in most of our matches. We're on 4 Max Potions, obviously, for compatibility with energy moving. Move your energy off of whatever's got the damage, Max Potion, heal it, and then just move the energy right back. So Fairy Transfer for days. 1 Super Rod to get lost Aromatisse and Spritzies back if they get early knockout on Spritzies, on your Spritzies, or if your Aromatisse gets discarded with like a Sycamore or something. Can also get energy back if we lose some early on, or maybe if we need another attacker. Maybe you need Lugia or Xerneas-EX twice. That could happen. 4 VS Seekers for obvious reasons. Get back supporters. 4 Max Elixirs. This is like the new card that I've found ways to fit into so many decks. And I guess I really wish had I played something other than Night March or more specifically Vespi March at States, it would have been, I probably would have tried to integrate Max Elixir into whatever I was using, because this card is just so powerful and just nuts. And I've had a lot of fun with some different decks using this card out, trying this card out, and I definitely look forward to seeing how many more I can make this work in. Great card. Early energy acceleration. Basically makes it so you don't have to play 4 double colorless to get that first attack with Sylveon. Outstanding. I can't say enough about this thing. 4 Sycamores, because the deck's made by me. And it's just good to have 4 Sycamores, so that's why we have them. 2 Professor Birch, because we don't have Battle Compressor and we don't have Trainer's Mail. Those are 2 key cards that to have in... Especially Trainer's Mail, you want to have 4 copies if you're not going to run alternative draw options besides, you know, niche ones like Judge and Giovanni, and then obviously your 4 Sycamores. So we are running Birch, unfortunately. 2 copies. 1 Zero Sick. This is mainly to get rid of Headringer if our guys get Headringered. You could also remove a Focus Sash like this. You could take just a Muscle Band off, or you could take an energy off of Giratina, because they can try to stick their Stadium in play and lock us out of Fairy Garden, which really sucks. So, Zero Sick can help us out there. 1 Judge. Shuffle Draw Disruption altogether, at least until N returns to format here pretty soon. 2 Lysanders. Pick and choose our knockouts. Again, very, very standard. No pun intended. 4 Fairy Gardens. Maximum number, because this is really important. We have no other forms of switching in the deck, other than, unless you want to count Sky Return. So, definitely having the max count of Fairy Garden to guarantee our free retreat. Use Aromatisse, move your energy to wherever's active. If it doesn't have one, free retreat, and then just move it to wherever you need it. Pretty basic. 3 Fighting Fury Belts. This, not only triggering Sylveon's effect to do 30 more damage with its first attack, but also adding 10 more damage on top of that to whatever the attached Pokemon whenever they attack, and also gaining 40 HP. So it turns Sylveon into a 210 HP tank. Same with Xerneas-EX and Lugia-EX. So all of our EXs become 210 HP tanks at this point. Regular Xerneas 170 for a single prize. Really, really awesome. Just tough to knock stuff out. And then 2 EXP shares. And I like this because when stuff gets knocked out now, the energy just goes to whatever. You can put this on Aromatisse, actually. I think is probably the best place to put it. And then when something gets knocked out, one of the energies from the Pokemon that gets knocked out, one of the basic fairy energies, just goes directly to the Pokemon with EXP share, and then we can just move it right back to wherever we need it next turn, rather than it being stuck on something and not being able to put another tool on our attacker. So a lot of neat little synergy there. So I run 2 copies of this, and with being an XY on in standard, with Hypnotoxic Laser not being a thing, definitely a viable contender of a card to have in a deck like this. And then finally we play 2 copies of Double Colorless due to its strong compatibility with Sylveon-EX, Xerneas-EX, and Lugia-EX, as well as using Shaman for Sky Return. So all of our EX, all of our big attackers really have some form of compatibility with Double Colorless. So we play 2 copies, leaving us 9 basic Fairy Energies, which is still enough to be able to hit Max Elixir consistently while being able to run the Double Colorless for the situations when we may need it. So it's a nice balance. The other thing to remember about Double Colorless is we can't move it with Fairy Transfer, obviously, so if we do need to max potion something with a Double Colorless, we will lose the Double Colorless energy. So definitely some things to consider, but overall a very solid list. You could easily slim down on the non-EX Xerneases to, due to max elixirs if you really wanted to, try to add some other stuff. I feel like with Shaman in the deck, it's kind of tough to run Florges, but, you could probably build a Mega Gardevoir deck with a pretty similar lineup to what we're going with here. Just the consistency of being able to hit energy onto basics is good, but as long as you have a basic on the bench, I guess Mega Gardevoir would be okay. But that's the list we've got, and we're going to go ahead and take it for a spin. Okay, so it looks like we're going to draw a Greninja here.
You're playing Igor.
I wonder if it is Igor Costa. Wouldn't that be cool?
It says Igor and Jiraga.
Yeah. Igor Andrade 14. I do apologize if I mispronounced that. Okay, so our opponent's going to go first. Let's see what we get. Oh, I like this guy's taste in sleeves. I thought we had those on the... Oh, no, wait, that was... Never mind. We should have Milotic sleeves on here. Okay, there's a Sylveon. That's what we want. Go ahead and put that on the bench. Alrighty, so... see what we go up against here. I'm guessing Greninja because he had all those... Yeah, okay. So it is Greninja. Dang, if there was ever a time I wanted to have a full heal in my deck handy for when this thing uses Bubble to try to stall me. Okay, so... It's actually good to see a Muscle Band right away, so that's one question I always wonder when I play against Greninja. Does he run Muscle Band? Because a lot of times that can play into whether or not knockouts happen. With Greninja's, what is it, Moonlight Slash, I think. Compressor. So we're going to see what we got. Lysanders, Wally, and Skyla all go to the discard. So probably going to see, yep, a VS Seeker. So we're going to see the Wally. So even though he doesn't have the attack, he'll basically threaten us with the turn 2 Greninja. Or technically the turn 2 Greninja break. Because he could, on next turn, manually evolve into Greninja and then Wally again and bring the break evolution out. So we see a Puzzle of Time here. Let's see if it ends up being 1 or 2 copies. That's one thing I have not tried is Puzzle of Time in Greninja, so he's just rearranging his top 3, it looks like. And then passing his turn. So can we explode is the big question. So we'll throw the Lysander, and we'll throw... Oh, man, do I want to throw the EXP share here?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I guess we will. And we're going to go get... do I want... another? Yeah, I think we probably want to grab another Sylveon here. As tempting as it is to grab the Xerneas and try to Geomancy up. And then we can draw 4 cards off of Shaman here. So we need to hit some max elixirs. And that didn't happen. Okay, so we'll put that down. We'll bench another Sylveon and we'll take 3 cards off the second Shaman-EX here. Okay, we see a max elixir come down. So there's 1 energy. So we're going to see an energy go on to one of our Sylveons. We're going to go ahead and attach 1. Oh, we probably should have attached that to the active. That was a misplay. At that point, we might as well have hung on to the Birch. But we do get heads, so we hit 7 cards off of Professor Birch. So we can get a Fighting Fury Belt down. And another Max Elixir. So we're going to hit again. We're going to get 3 energies on this Xerneas, on this Sylveon-EX to start off the game. Which is pretty darn good. We got Aromatisse in weight, as well as another energy if our Fairy Garden sticks. So that's a pretty solid first turn. One max elixir and one misplay, obviously, at this point, away from from getting the turn 1. We still could have gotten the turn 1 dress up, though, which, now that I think about it, would have won the game. Wow. Oh. Silly blunders. That would have been the donk. So yes, we had the donk, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you wanted to keep it interesting, so you did that on purpose, right?
Yeah, let's tell everybody that. So he's gonna Greninja, so we'll see if he... Okay, so he's Sycamore, so he's not gonna give us the Greninja break on the first turn. So we're gonna see a Remoraid come down, and it's gonna suck to have our abilities locked here, but we are still gonna have the benefit of Fairy Garden so long as it doesn't get bumped by a Rough Seas. So we see a Sacred Ash for Octillery, and an XY Greninja, and a Dive Ball for the Octillery. Okay. So let's recover from that misplay now. We've got the energy in hand. Aromatisse won't have an ability, but we can still put it down. And then we can actually heal this damage with the use of Sylveon's attack. Well, most of it. So we can lay down Aromatisse here. Put another Fighting Fury Belt, attach an energy, and we'll simply Birch again. Can we hit heads twice? Nope. That's too good to be true. But we do get Sycamore, so that's good. So we'll retreat off the Fairy Garden, and then we can use Precious Ribbon. Oh god, these attack names. So 110 damage is dealt, and we move the energy over here, heal 50 damage off of it, and we can definitely play a bit of hardball this way. We have the double colorless waiting in hand to fulfill that attack cost again next turn. So he plays a max potion. So he's going to play it right back. Evolves Remoraid into Octillery, so he'll have access to Abyssal Hand. We see a Mega, or sorry, not Mega, a Greninja Break come down, and a Fisherman, so he's going to retrieve that energy. Just the one, but he can discard it or attach it, so he's going to attach it, and then he can Abyssal Hand for 4 more cards here. This is where we really regret not donking him, but I always say it's better to make these mistakes now than to make them when it's tournament time. So, yeah, this game should have ended on my first turn. But in any case, we'll see if we can take down the Golden Froggy. So we'll see a Moonlight Slash here, so he's not going to lock he's not going to lock abilities. So we're going to get full access to Aromatisse here. We can go ahead and throw another Fighting Fury Belt down. He's got 6 in hand, but I don't think I'm too concerned about that. We'll be able to retreat and do some other stuff here. I also want to get another energy down. And then I think we're just going to Sycamore. Okay, and we are going to draw right into that max potion, so that's going to be beneficial here. So then basically what we can do is retreat into... Let's see, let's retreat into this one. We can use Fairy Transfer here. Move one of these up here. And move... Actually... Oh no, that was actually kind of silly. Okay, well, we'll hold that for now. Apparently I'm just bad at this game today. So we'll go ahead and max potion this guy. Get all that off there because we don't want that damage there. And then we will Precious Ribbon again. And we'll move an energy. Well, I guess since we don't have one in hand, we'll move it there so that it's ready to attack. But now just having 3 Sylveon-EXs just kind of staring him down. We can heal damage again next turn. We also have access to max potion. So we could, if that 10 damage becomes a much larger number, which it's likely to, really just forcing him to have to get an OHKO here. And without a form of tool removal, I'm not quite sure how that's going to happen. So he attaches a Muscle Band to his Octillery, likely an attempt to lower the number of cards in his hand. We see a giant Water Shuriken. Now there's the thing he can do, is go after our Shamans. So he's going to do that, and we may be forced to Sky Return here next turn. We could also heal 50 off of Shaman by using Precious Ribbon to move an energy there. No rule that says it has to be a fairy Pokemon, just a fairy energy. Could also Max Potion it. Definitely some options here if he doesn't come up with a Lysander. So he does rearrange again. He isn't able to retrieve Lysander from his discard with Puzzle of Time. So we'll see if he maybe gets a VS Seeker here off Abyssal Hand now that he's rearranged. Instead he plays a Sycamore. Discards a Rare Candy, and it looks like he did discard a VS Seeker. We see another Froakie come down, another Remoraid. And this is where if we can get Xerneas-EX down on the bench, it might be fun to try to bring this guy up since he has a muscle band attached to him.
You don't have the space.
Well, he'd have to knock something out first, and I'm not sure how likely that is right now. So he's going to retreat, knowing that we'd knock him out. So we're going to draw a Max Elixir, so let's play it. And we'll let another energy on the board here. So we can go ahead and lay that down. Can Max Potion the Shaman. Do a free retreat here into this one. And we can use Fairy Transfer here to make up for last turn's silly misplay, which is only really 1 damage counter, but still, it's whatever. So we can go ahead and do that. And I don't really see much of a need to try to draw into anything here. I mean, we could try to go for a Lysander, but it's all the same right now. Making a nice little Sick Puppies reference there. We can move an energy here, take the 10 damage off of there. And all 3 of these Sylveons also have Fighting Fury belts on them. So they're all 210 HP. None of them are really one-shotting the Greninjas. But he hasn't really been able to get much out in terms of Greninja. He's tossed a couple of rare candies, I think. Okay, 1 rare candy. But, you know, just kind of having that lick already laid down on the first Greninja. So we see only a Frogadier come out. So whether or not we see water duplicates here, I think, would be a key play. Instead, well, okay, so we see Giant Water Shuriken, so we lay 60 damage down on the Shaman again. Now, fortunately, we've got our 3rd Max Potion just sitting in our hand. So we're going to see a Dive Ball here for another Froakie. So he can lay that down, and he could still potentially water duplicates and then play off a rare candy over here. So we'll see Abyssal Hand for 2. And he attaches instead to the Greninja in the active and opts to play a Sycamore. So he discards a Greninja Break and a Frogadier. Or Frogadier, I guess I should probably try to pronounce that correctly. So he knocks out Fairy Garden with Rough Seas, heals 30. Of course, we're just going to knock Rough Seas right back out with Fairy Garden, unless he has like a red card or something. Which I don't think he runs, if I had to take a guess. But we're going to take a hit here. So I guess just having this kind of energy on the board, you know, and Aromatisse is helpful here, but it's not a life or death situation, as you might notice. So the 2/2 line really isn't too thin, whereas in some variants of some fairy builds, it's more necessary, I feel like, to have the 3rd copy. That said, I guess it does feel a little interesting to play a deck like this and, you know, kind of go a little bit outside my comfort zone. So we see a Puzzle of Time here, and at this point, he's got to have 2 of them. 9 cards left in deck. We've already seen Giant Water Shuriken for the turn. He could grab a Greninja and a Rare Candy, potentially, to evolve the Froakie on the bench. And that's... okay, so he's going to get the Greninja Break. So he's already got the Greninja in hand, then. So it's the Break evolution we'll be looking at. So he switches out to Frogadier, but doesn't have an energy. So he's going to try to reap the benefits of Rough Seas again next turn. We're going to say no to that. And try to make him play another one. Now, we could use Max Potion here, but I think, in all honesty, I'm more comfortable just using Precious Ribbon to heal 50 damage and leaving the 10 damage there. I mean, if he really wants to go Shuriken Shadow Stitching, he's got the Muscle Band to do that anyway, so In this instance, we're just going to Precious Ribbon here for a knockout. Move one of these over to Shaman and take 50 damage off of it. And we'll gain another prize card in the process. And so we do draw Lysander off the prizes, so I guess the big deal here is whether or not he has a way to take any more damage off of that Greninja right now, to the point where we would not be able to one-shot it. And I guess another benefit here to not playing the Professor Sycamore is just that we've got 18 cards in deck, but we're taking one prize at a time, so really just being able to manage our resources and keep cards in our deck here is actually somewhat valuable, I believe. Plus, we're not discarding resources that may actually come in handy down the line. So we see a Water Shuriken onto the other Shaman. We'll see if he follows that up with a giant Water Shuriken here, or perhaps a Lysander. Instead, he grabs Fisherman, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So we're going to see an Abyssal hand here for only one before he does the Shuriken. Interesting. So okay, so he plays the Fisherman. Alright. So that's probably why. So he's going to grab a couple energies back. 3 energies, it looks like. So he's got plenty of weapons now to use with this. And I guess if he were to break Evolve again next turn, he would be able to do 2 giant Water Shurikens in the same turn, which could take a Shaman right off the board. And that could be a potential problem. So he is going to retreat into the regular Greninja here. And passes his turn, so we've got a KO range on the Greninja break, which we can take advantage of. So we're going to go ahead and max potion this one. Then we're going to use Aromatisse to move the energy over here, up to the active. And then we will Lysander the Greninja break, and Precious Ribbon for a knockout. Moving one of these back here and getting the last damage counter off of our board. And that will take away the threat of 2 giant Water Shurikens happening in the same turn. And we hit our 4th max potion off the prizes. So we see a town map from our opponent, and as we take a look at his prize, it looks like that's where his other Rough Seas is hanging out. So we do see Greninja break come down. Now, he can lay down 90 damage worth of Water Shurikens, but without a Lysander, that is still not enough. And with that 4th max potion just kind of chilling in our hand. And so our opponent's going to forfeit right there. I think he kind of knows, like, look, I could knock out a Shaman, but how much good is it going to do? And so there you just kind of see the raw staying power of Sylveon, even though we could have donked him. So we're going to go ahead and go into another game here. Okay. So it looks like we hit the dreaded Night March, unless that's a, whatchamacallit? I don't know. So, oh boy. With the potential to attack on turn 1, do I want to go first? I'm gonna take a gamble here and go second. Oh, this guy's a fan. That's pretty cool. Thanks. You're about to be in one. I think that's a smiley face. I don't know. The emoticons in this game are kind of wonky. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Hopefully I can give you a good match. I hope so. Nice, terrible start, though. I'm mold, so it's good, lol. And we don't have a very good hand, either. Yeah, we gotta start with that thing. The rest of our hand shows promise, although I really wish we weren't sitting on this guy. And so instead, our opponent's gonna flip over a Wobbuffet. And that could be a problem, because we can't set up under Wobbuffet. guess it just makes me even more grateful with Fairy Garden that it is indeed an ability. So we see a Sycamore, Dimension Valley. So 2 Bursting Balloons. So it looks like it's a Trevenant deck, so maybe he's just running the Dedenne. I know I did that for a bit, ran Dedenne and Trevenant. But because he's Sycamore, so we're not going to get a turn 1 here. So this should be interesting being under item lock with a deck that accelerates on items alone. But he did retreat out of his Wobbuffet, which is good news for us. He did it so he could set up, but we just drew both of our Aromatisse. Ugh. That's not what I want to see. Okay, so I think we can let one of them go along with the Lysander. We're going to go try to find a Sylveon here. And we're going to attach up here and then Shaman for 4 cards. Now we're going to lose access to Max Potion here as well. Oh, that's not good. Well, I can send the Aromatisse that's in the discard back into the deck at least. Probably would have been better if I had discarded both of them if I had known that was going to happen. So we're going to Super Rod this Aromatisse right back into the deck since we're going to lose the other one. Not too interested in judging right now. But we're not going to get any of the resources we need here. So it looks like we're going to VS Seeker here, grab a Professor Sycamore for next turn, and we can throw down a couple of these things. And we can beat or we can retreat. Well, let's retreat. Unfortunately, we are going to lose that energy because, once again, we whiffed. So I think that's going to do it for the turn. So we're going to have to maybe hit a double colorless energy or something if we want to start attacking. We're going to see not 1 but 2 Trevenants come down here. We'll see if he has a Wally into the Trevenant break. So we see a VS Seeker for the Sycamore. So it doesn't look like we're going to take a hit this turn. Well, now he's going to... Oh, he's going to VS Seeker again and get the Delinquent. Well, if he wants to play the Delinquent, I can be okay with that. Here's the 3rd one for the Lysander. Okay, so all the VS Seekers just coming down at one time. So he plays the Delinquent. Okay, so we can go ahead and get rid of Xerneas, Lugia, and a Sylveon here, and I think I can be okay with that because we have the Professor Sycamore, which is the important card here. So we get the Fairy Garden, and I'm a fan of that. So go ahead and attach, and we can just Professor Sycamore. Now, under item lock, looks like our whole hand, except for maybe this Xerneas-EX, is pretty darn useless. So, I guess we're just going to pass. No point in putting the Xerneas down and risk it getting a head ringer. So our opponent's going to go ahead and follow up with a Sycamore of his own. And he tosses Wally, another Sycamore, and the Lysander. So we see Dimension Valley come down, bounce the Fairy Garden. And we're going to be at war in terms of stadiums here. So waiting on that break evolution now. And so he passes. He doesn't get the break evolution. Now we do not have a supporter card to play here, so we're just going to go ahead and bounce his stadium again. And I'm just going to go ahead and hold the rest of my hand and pass. So he attaches another energy. We have both Lysanders down there? Yeah, we do. That sucks. So he's going to attach and then Wally into Trevenant Break. So that's going to give him access to Silent Fear, which is going to let him start attacking. And I guess that's really unfortunate on our end that we're not able to get any energy down onto Sylveon to use even Dress Up to do a little bit of damage. Because these 2 Max Elixirs are just sitting dead in our hand. Drew those a turn too late. And to think about the difference if we could have had some energy on the board and start attacking, the damage from Silent Fear would be coming right off our side. Instead, we're pretty much at the mercy of his Trevenant now with no Lysander available. And without a Hex Maniac in the deck, we're pretty much entirely at the, like I said, at the mercy of Trevenant now. needing to draw two energy cards, really, to get ourselves out of this mess. We've got some turns to do it, and it looks like we're going to get something to work with. So we could go ahead and try to lay down another big body in Xerneas-EX, or we could simply lay down a Xerneas here and try to Geomancy our way into this. And I'm thinking that's the way to go. So we get the energy, so we can Geomancy to kind of accelerate here. We are going to lose our Spritzy on the next turn, however. But that shouldn't be too big of a problem here. We do have Birch for next turn. And more importantly, we can Geomancy onto our two Sylveon-EXs here. Try to get some energy on the board, even if we don't have an Aromatisse handy to move it all around. And it looks like, okay, we're only down one Fairy Garden. He's down at least 2 Dimension Valleys. He's got 1, he's got 2, 3. Okay, so he's down 3 Dimension Valleys. So assuming he runs the full set of 4, he's going to be with 1 left against our 3 stadiums. So I'm liking those odds. And we'll see a Tree Slam here. So he's going to knock out, he's going to do damage to Shaman. He's going to knock out Spritzy for a prize card. But we're going to be able to respond here with a big attack from our Sylveon-EX. So we can go ahead and lay down another energy there and play Professor Birch's Observations. And we're only going to get 4. Well, we do get another Spritzy. Now, I may want to wait a little bit with that. We can do take advantage of the free retreat here. And, oh geez, do I want to start healing damage off there now? So next turn, go up to 80. Oh, man. You know, I'm even okay with him knocking that out, I think. We can go ahead and do the Precious Ribbon here for 110, and I think we really just want to... Oh, that's a problem, too. Well, we could always retreat into Xerneas here if we need to. So let's go ahead and take that damage off there. Could argue that it would have been better to take damage off him or even this guy. So we see another Battle Compressor here. We'd also notice he runs the Jolteon here for the Shaman, for the continuous setup play. So we see a Team Flare Grunt in his discard, actually. See an Ultra Ball here. Notice he's not laying down Bursting Balloons. And he misclicked. So maybe he did mean to lay it down. I'm guessing he probably meant to play the Trainer's Mail, though. Okay, so he meant to play a Super Rod first. Dang. So he goes and gets a Trevenant Break. Evolves. I think he meant to go and get the Shaman, yep. Because it looks like, yeah, he has a Shaman in his discard pile. So we're going to see a Silent Fear come down again. And now we may want to consider... Well, I guess we're not going to be able to consider removing damage from one of those because it looks like we're going to give up some prizes next turn. 3 of them, to be precise. But nonetheless, we will Geomancy here and try to pull a couple more energy out of the deck. And those are going to be the last 2, actually. But we're going to give up 3 prizes on our turn before our 2 Sylveons can kind of try to hold the fort down here, I think, which is going to be more than necessary. So he gets a Professor Sycamore off Trainer's Mail. Now, if he Sycamores, okay, he's going to Super Rod first. Bring his deck count up to 15, and then he's going to Sycamore down to 8. But that's plenty of cards. And the Sylveon over here has more damage, so that's the one we're going to want to leave on the bench so we can heal it. Since his attacks will not do more than 60 damage to me at 1 round unless we see like a Muscle Band or something come down. Bursting Balloon is always a threat, but with 3 of them in the discard, shouldn't have to worry too much about those, but we are going to yield. It looks like he's not going to knock out the Xerneas, actually. So we draw into another useless Max Elixir. I was expecting Tree Slam there, but I guess that wouldn't have knocked out Shaman, so he probably made the better play. So, okay. We could either heal off one of these guys, or we could heal off of the Xerneas and prevent another prize from coming down. But then the energy just gets moved somewhere that we don't really want it, so I think I'm okay with that dying. Instead, we'll just launch Precious Ribbon and go ahead and move the energy back here. And so that will knock out the Trevenant break, grant us access to one of our prize cards. And I think this is really where the matchup becomes tough for him, because not only are we not relying on our abilities now, but just kind of having two Sylveons shuffle back and forth. So he does get his fourth Dimension Valley out. So he's going to be able to do something there, and he can also attack with Wobbuffet if he wants to, which is a bit of a scary thought, as he could definitely land a knockout that way. Silent Fear is going to get him a KO on the Xerneas. So we've got to keep these numbers of damage that we've got on us down to a minimum. And so we retreat this one. Oh! Oh, that's not good. Well, we're going to let him know that we just misclicked. So we're going to go ahead and, I guess we're just going to use Precious Ribbon. It's a good thing this guy's got 4. I will agree it's been a great match. Admittedly, I would like to get this item lock out of the way, because letting that Xerneas die in combination with that misplay is going to cause nothing but trouble. Now, I'm also seeing that we've got quite a bit of energy in the prizes, because there were no more left in deck. So we're going to see Wobbuffet come up here now, and he's going to give us items. And we like items.
Not that you can use the max elixirs anymore.
Well, there aren't any, no, there aren't any energies for the max elixirs, but we can use max potion. Well, if he's holding a, well, he's going to grab his Lysander, I think, right here. Now, we may be able to try to deck him here. Instead, he's going to grab a Team Flare Grunt, so he's going to basically try to deny our access to that attack. And then Psychic Assault for 80 damage. Because if he has a Lysander... So we do get the double colorless, but if he has a Lysander, it won't matter. We can knock this thing out. But we have to use the active one. Well, let's burn this since we don't need it. Man, that misplay on the hard retreat is probably going to end up costing us. Now, again, like I said, we can KO the Wobbuffet. The Trevenant, however, let's see, the Trevenant does not have any energy on it, so he would not be able to bring it up and tree slam us for the knock. So we're going to go ahead and stick with that then, I think.
He should also be out of D-Valleys now.
Yeah, he's definitely out of Dimension Valleys right now. So we're going to Precious Ribbon for 110, take advantage of that double colorless, and heal all the rest of the damage off of the benched Sylveon. We've got a lot of damage sitting on that active one, but hopefully we can overcome, and hopefully he doesn't have a way to take that tool off there. So we see a Wobbuffet come down with an energy. We know he's just waiting on that BS Seeker Lysander play now. But the thing is, without Dimension Valley, he is going to need one more turn to do that. So we'll see if he opts to bring Trevenant back out. Instead, he judges. Because I think at this point, with the ability to hit another energy, or even just use Dress Up, we do hit the energy. We can Max Potion the one that has all the damage if he doesn't bring a Trevenant up. And so he opts not to. So we're going to have some plays here. So first things first, he's coming out of the active because we are not about to let that happen. And we're going to take all the damage off this silly thing, because we cannot have damage sitting around like that. And with him with 2 cards left in deck, I think I'm content not to play the Professor Sycamore here. And honestly, I don't even want to move that energy off of there. I think we're just going to go ahead and do a... he says that he's got nothing. So I'm going to say good game, and I don't know if he's going to forfeit here or what's going to happen, but we're just going to do a Dress Up here for 70, because I don't want to move the energy off of this thing right now. So we do see a float stone come down, and now we can Precious Ribbon here to get a knockout after he does 10 damage to us. The thing is, we have no more energy left in the deck, so we would have to hit one off the prizes. So I'll be willing to take the 20 more damage on our turn here. We've got 3 energy in the prizes. He's going to Sycamore into the rest of his deck. Psychic Assault for the 20. So we can just go and pass our turn. And that will be the game. So, riddled with misplays. But I did promise him he would be in the video, so he is going to be. So there's our match now. We can try to play one more here and see if we maybe don't misplay. What do you guys think? Huh? Down with that? What's up? Alright, so we got another game going on here. We're going to call heads. We're going to get heads. And, okay, do I want to go first?
No.
Okay. We'll go second.
Snipe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Ugh.
Maybe.
I mean, yes, it's my favorite Pokemon, but it's also a liability. But it's an attacker, so, okay. Whatever. Can try to catch up on 2 prize card counts by using the No, he started an unknown. Where's my Fright Knight? Still playing the Valleys though. Interesting. Not playing the list Mahone and I played. Professor's Letter? Okay. Interesting. So he grabs 2 lightning energies. That would be a good way to retreat and not have to burn double colorless, I guess, if he doesn't have a float stone. And he plays a compressor. Now what are we going to get here? I'm guessing 3 Lampents or 2 Lampents and a Sycamore. 2 Lampents and a Sycamore, yep. That fits. But he's just going to pass his turn. Woo! Wow. Okay. So we need... Let's see. Let's throw those. Give me this guy. Now, I'd love to use the double colorless here. Unfortunately, we're not that good. So, the double colorless is going to go on the Lugia. And we need to hit a couple of elixirs. We get 1. We do have a Shaman in hand. So we can go ahead and knock
Don't
his...
you just need a Fighting Fury Bell? Isn't it 50 HP?
No, it's 60.
Ah.
So we're going to elixir once. Grab an energy. We actually do need the Fighting Fury Belt just for the sole purpose of accelerating the damage output. So we can Ultra Ball 2 of these away to grab the other Shaman from the deck if it's not prized. I'm going to try to reach for this donk. Oh. None of that is burnable. Yuck. Gross. Alright. I'm not going to take a gamble on a single card there. We're just going to Arrow Ball. Alright, so we see a town map. Got 2 VS Seekers in there. I've been noticing that one of Skyla popping up a little bit more in these Night March lists. So he's going to get Sycamore back with VS Seeker. So we'll see that. And he discards 2 Lightning Energies, a Vespiquen, a Escape Rope, and a Lampent. Puts a Pumpkaboo down on the bench. Attaches a Muscle Band. There's a Combee. And again passing the turn. So we'll get... So we would have gotten a Max Elixir off the top of the deck. Wow. Could have donked him. Nope. Never mind. No energy. Alrighty. So we get Shaman for 2 here. We could also VS Seeker. I think I kind of like that idea. With a Lysander. You got him? Thanks. So we're just going to bring Combi up here, and could have also actually brought up Pumpkaboo, but since it doesn't have an energy, I'm not going to put another liability of a Shaman down. We'll just go ahead and Arrow Ball here for a knockout, claim a prize card, and move on. So we'll see Unknown get used. Go to the discard, netting our opponent one additional card. And now we see another Compressor. Okay, so here we go. So 2 Joltics and a Pumpkaboo go. Now with 2 Lampents there, one in the prizes, the last one's got to be in his hand. He attaches a double colorless energy, puts down the Dimension Valley, plays a 0/6, so knocks the energy off of Lugia, and then Night Marches for some damage there, 120. But that's not going to be enough because we're just going to attach. Go ahead and Fairy Transfer, and we're going to have an Arrow Ball here for the knockout. And that will be it. So we're going to win a quick one against Night March there. So I do apologize for the cluster of misplays. I mean, you talk about a lot of misplays. That was a lot over the course of those games. But again, I don't want to show you guys how not to play as much as how to play, but in any case, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck. It's a lot of fun to play. It's actually fairly competitive too. You notice we made some misplays and came back from them. Maybe we don't make those next time. But anyway, this is Heretic, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Cheers.